How's everybody doing tonight? Give me a one in the chat if you can hear me. See? Oh man. It's just Tuesday and I'm tired already. So you see it. Gonna talk a little bit about nation states tonight. So my man Chris is in there. Akami, Ty's in the house. Glad everybody joining me. Tomorrow's hump day. I'm struggling already though. I was working a little bit before I came on. So let's see. My man Chris in the house. Man's in the house. Got my one Ty. What's up, Ty? I'm gonna talk a little bit about what's going on. Talk a little bit about nation states and how that kind of fits in with GRC a little bit and what you should be doing at your companies or as a consultant when you're on site when they start talking about nation state hacks. We're gonna run through that quick 13 minutes. I'll talk about it. You know how we do it. If you got any our facts on the APT, he's grinding. So too, you know how we do it. If you got any questions, put them in the chat. Tech or cybersecurity, we definitely chat about it. One from Warner Robins. Okay. GA in the house. Making popcorn for the next 2 hours. Hopefully it won't be 2 hours, but you know how it goes. So let's check this out a little bit. Once again, let me know if you can hear it when it start playing. Give me a one if you can hear it when it starts playing. Once again, it was a good 60 minutes little interview. I just want to go over top of it, then add on to it at the end, talking about from a GRC perspective, what you should be doing. So let's get to it.
In the past year, hospitals.
Well, let's touch on ransomware real quick before they get started good. Let's see who's in the house. You did a stream on cyber attack with AI with the Iranian drone attack on Israel. Ooh, that was a little touchy. I was thinking about that facts on flood. I was thinking that's a little touchy on that. YouTube already demonetized me. I'm trying to get back. I'm thinking on that though. I was thinking on that though. Actually, that's an interesting thing you brought up. Hey, what's up, Charles? Glad you could join me. So real quick, let's talk about long time, however everything's going. Everything's going well for me. It's been a minute. So let's touch on ransomware real quick. Let's touch on ransomware real quick. So like you said, bad guy comes in, they encrypt your drive, take it over, then they want you to play a ransom. The why it's more pervasive is script kiddies is the lowest hackers. These guys with very little knowledge. The top hackers are doing ransomware as a service. It's setting them up like AWS. So the guys with little knowledge are buying or buying a service as ransomware, and they're running it like professionals. The professionals got a help desk. They're giving them training. They're charging them. So why would the professionals give it to the junior guys? Why? They make money too. If they get caught, the FBI is going to go to the people using it, not to the people that provided them the service, right? That's how you go up to the drug cartels, right? You're a little guy, middleman, moving some weight, moving keys, or you the kingpin, right? So that's the thing, same thing with ransomware. Now they got different levels of ransomware and who can get them. So script kiddies now becoming just as powerful as big guys because they're using the same tools and they're leasing them from those guys like Amazon Web Service. Shout out to Carmel Drip. Glad you can join me. I'm doing pretty good for an old guy. I can't complain. Trying to get this year 2024 going. It's going pretty well. Making my comeback. Don't call it a comeback. They're the facts. They are the Fall Guys. So that's just a little bit. And shout out to my man, Struggle Security. We touched on the different levels of script kiddie, nation states, organized crimes, right? Governments are in that on both sides. Shout out to my man Chaos Rain for joining. Right, so different levels. So let's keep going, right? So script kiddies are just as powerful as the big boys now because they're leasing the same software for those guys. So that's an interesting thing. Anything with technology. So right. So that lets you know if there's ever a cyber attack and they take out the United States electronics or anything electronics, it's gonna be over with, right? It's gonna be the Walking Dead up in here. All right. And we're gonna touch on this. You as a large organization should have incident response. You should be practicing if you get ransomware attack. You should be practicing that if the electronics on your doors go out or they're closing safe, which means they open it up, or they're closing secure, meaning you got people trapped in your rooms, right? So you got to walk through those different scenarios as a very large company. So I'm a little surprised that billion-dollar companies didn't have instant response for, okay, if we can't get to the reservation system, we can't, the elevators are not working, the what he said, the cars are not working, we're not paying people out, right? You should have had steps in place. That could be as simple as hold your tickets. We're gonna pay you out the next day. We're gonna throw 10% on there, right? Something to appease your customers, especially your high rollers and your whales. You should have incident response. Coop. I actually help companies practice incident response. So especially for your doors, because you know that's gonna happen. It could be anything as a power gets cut out inside your hotel. So you need to have something in place, right? It might not be the smoothest thing, it might be the slowest thing ever, but your front desk shouldn't be sitting there going, we don't know what to do, right? So you should, once again, be practicing these things. Like I said, incident response. And two is from a federal government standpoint. Once again, most people know I do federal work, state work. They tell you every year you got to do an incident response exercise. So I'm surprised from hotel, gaming, conventions that they didn't have something in place. So at least kind of is if you're a CEO, would you pay them ransom? Right. Even though the United States government says you should not pay them ransom, as a CEO, should you pay them ransom? If I'm the CEO, the answer is yes, right? They paid, I think they're gonna say 5 or 10 on $100 million. And we ain't even talking about lost reputation. They talking about $100 million real money, 15 mil. So yeah, I would have paid that, man. Because you talking about lost stock price. You didn't even get to the stock price, reputational risk, all the fuzzy numbers. They just talking about a hard 100 million they lost, right? By people not working, people couldn't get in the rooms, people getting rebates. You're not even talking about probably the tech costs, the fuzzy costs, once again, reputational risk. People now might maybe not want to stay in their hotel because they had a bad experience. So 15 million, and like he said, 50, that was like 5 or 7 days for them, man. I would have cut that check so quick. I threw a bonus on the hackers, man. So, but once again, that's a business decision, and you as a tech person got to understand which way your business is going to go. But you're right. If nobody paid out ransomware after a while, people would stop doing it because there would be no payoff for it, right? So I do see both sides of it. A couple people in the chat real quick. Mr. Finesse in the house. Karma Drip. Crazy part, cybersecurity hire is lower. Yep, that's true. That's true. That's a whole different video. There's gatekeepers. They say we're a million cybersecurity people short. Cybersecurity is an expense and a cost, not a profit. So depending on where your organization's at in its life cycle, I always tell people most people don't think about cybersecurity until they get a big fine or until the government makes them. Um, those cost money, right? Yeah, but those are super inexpensive. If you go out to Google's YubiKey, if you go on AWS, those are super cheap. So yeah, they're not. They're just part of doing business. Yep, a ton of people were fired. 100%. MGTOW Universe, what's up? 15 million. Yeah, man, I'd have cut that check, man. For a casino, man, it's a couple of days, man. Would not paying giving hackers more of a reason to come after your company. Yes, and no. They would, but you know, it's a business decision. But you're right. If you pay them, they probably come back. They might leave a back door and come back in a couple months and ask for more money. Yeah, it's a simple game theory. Crazy things is if the hackers renege, they lose money. Yeah, if a company pays them and they hear that they didn't get their keys to unlock their data, then companies have stop doing it too. The other weird thing is, shout out to my man Struggle Security, is they actually have big consulting companies that'll help you negotiate your ransomware down. Right. So that's a profession now in cybersecurity, is ransomware negotiator. So it's crazy out there. Facts, MGTOW, business decision on both parties. Hey, Ken in the house, one of the day ones, and not. Let's see. Companies need more training. Oh, facts. Let's keep going. Once again, great conversation in the chat. Keep the questions rolling. Let's check out this English-speaking young guys wreaking havoc on the U.S. Like that. I feel like that. Yeah. Let's see. Chris 100. What free again? Oh, they let the bad guys out jail. They caught them. I guess we made some deal with Russia. Then once the Ukraine attack happened, Russia wasn't happy, so they let all the bad hackers out again. So let's see. I must say that they are great stories. Oh yeah. 60 Minutes been at the game forever. So let's go to what my man said. Let's share a quick CISA article. One of the top organizations, agency out there. So, like they said, CISA put out a. Let's see how that is big. Make that a little smaller. I'm blind, but I ain't that blind. Let's get that down to 150. So you see it, Cybersecurity Infrastructure Security Agency, CISA. So when there's an advisory, this is a cybersecurity advisory, something big like the hack like that, casino hack, they put out advisory uh, about what happens. They talk about it. So the FBI and CISA are releasing joint in response to the recent Scatter Spider. We saw who Scatter Spider is. Scatter Spider is a criminal group that targets large company and their contracted information technology help desk. Scatter Spider threat actors per trusted third parties are typically engaged in data threat extortion. Been known to utilize BlackCat alpha ransomware in their TTPs. So we're going to dig down a little further. This advisors use MITRE ATT&CK Enterprise. We're going to peek at a MITRE ATT&CK. MITRE ATT&CK is a framework that tells how do these organizations, what is their standard attack vector? Do they go to Active Directory? Do they go to your printer first? Do they trick your help desk, right, to get to change your password? But once again, and they're going to talk about it right here. They talked about their MFA. So maybe they're going to enlighten it. I'm like, dude, why those people don't have MFA? So let's keep reading real quick. Scatter Spider is also known as Star Fraud, UNC, Scatter Swine, Moto Libra, engages in data extortion with several other criminal activity. Scatter Spider's threat actors are considered experts in social engineering, using multiple social engineering techniques, especially phishing, push bombing, subscriber identity modules, SIM swap attacks to obtain credentials, install RATs, remote access tools, and or multi-factor authority, bypass multi-factor authentication / MFA, according to public reports. They're threat actors. So here's some of their techniques posed as a company IT and our help desk staff using a phone call or SMS message to obtain credentials from employees and gain access. Posed as an IT company help desk staff to direct employees to run a commercially remote access tool enabling initial threats. Posed as an IT staff convincing employees to share their one-time passwords, OTP, and their MFA code. Right, so that kind of made sense how they got around the MFA. Sent repeated MFA notification prompts, leading the employees pressing the accept button, aka MFA fatigue. Right, so these just kind of walk through you how do they go through those steps to get their social engineering to work. You as a GRC person, cybersecurity person, should know these techniques, and in your training, tell people do not just follow the MFA fatigue. When somebody asks you to reset their password, they need to give you a birth date or a social security. I wouldn't do birthdays anymore because everybody's birthday's on Facebook, right? So those are some things in your training, and you as a GRC person, what do you need to put into place so you don't fall victim to uh, scattered Scatter Spider? Let's look at a couple more. We're going to keep reading. Let's see. Best believe cybercriminals going to skyrocket with machine learning. Oh, facts, because they're going to make the malware super good. Now, facts. AI, machine learning, they're working on that now. A lot of people use that in phishing tests, right, to make the emails look more legitimate. I bet they won't do anything like that again. Let's see. I think it's the reason why it's been skyrocketing. Phishing went up a lot. Yep. So let's keep reading a little longer. Just see what CISA had on it. Convince cellular carriers to transfer control of a targeted user phone number to SIM card. So the way around that is, and I've been talking about doing, I have to do it. When you go in and get a new SIM card, you can put a password on there. So before the tech, when you switch phones, it's going to prompt them for a password. So without you putting a password, they won't change your SIM card and they won't be able to do a SIM card swap. So that's one of the mitigating controls around some of those. And that's what you're trying to figure out. And we're going to delve into it a little more is if they do that, what's your mitigating control, right? If they change your password, do you have MFA? If they got MFA fatigue, you got to have user training, right? So those are things you need to put into place. So hopefully you won't fall victim. But let's be real honest. Somebody's gonna click a button sometimes. So you gotta have defensive depth. You gotta have Sentinel, where they're using AI to see, okay, this person is coming from an IP that's not in the state where 90% of this time this person's here, right? So we need to do more validation, more checks on that person, right? So there's a lot of tools you can add to it. After gaining access to the network, the FBI observed scattered spider threat actors using publicly available legitimate remote access tunneling tools. Table 1 details this list of legitimate tools Scatter Spider used. So let's look at a few of these. Most of these they're used, but not at major companies. I think Team Viewer is probably the most used one. So what I would do is most companies struggle, but they have a whitelist. So I will make sure these tools on here, if I don't need them, wouldn't be on my whitelist. Or the other way around is if I can't do a whitelist, I will put these on a blacklist, right? So if somebody tries to use one of these in my organization, it would flag it. Then I would just start locking down people's machines, locking down subnets, because I would be thinking scatter spiders trying to get me. So inside your SIM, you could look for these programs running for that. Then once again, you could do a blacklist. Malware is used by Scatter Spider. So most of these are out there. Most of the major vendors already has the virus pattern to block these. But once again, those guys are doing 0 days out there too to get by. Right, so Scatter Spider have historically evaded detection on target networks by living off the land. Techniques allow list application to navigate victims' network, as well as frequently modifying their TTPs, right? Their techniques and their protocols, how they're attacking. New TTP file encryption. FBI identifies Scatter Spider actors now encrypting victims' files after exfiltration, right? Because they want you to get, extortion. They want you to pay that ransomware. Execution, persistence, and privileges. All right, threat actors will register their own MF tokens after compromising your accounts to establish persistence. Further, threat actors add federated identity provider to the victim's SSO tenant, active automatically account linking. The threat actor is then able to sign into any account by using matching SSO account attribute. So if you're doing SSO, right, so you need to be checking your DNSSEC, making sure it's coming from where you think they should come from. 2 is you need to check your MFA tokens. People are trying to reuse them. So once again, you can go in. I did a video on that. You can go in AWS and validate all your tokens and regenerate new tokens, right? Especially when you think there's attack. And probably every quarter, every 6 months, you should generate new tokens for people to get and use and different things, right? So discovery and lateral movement. So AWS System Manager Inventory, one of my things I like to use. SharePoint, right? So living off the land, they're using things that you use, right? That you got to make sure you lock down from a security perspective. VMware, vCenter, right? So all of these are techniques they're using, right? So reconnaissance, what gathering victim identity. fishing for information. So a lot of people, I was arguing with the people because I never put my current job in my LinkedIn, right? Number one, it protects my company. Number two, it protects me. And the two is protects me for getting doxxed. Why? That's that's so people, if they're doing reconnaissance on me, it makes it a little harder to figure out where does he work, all right? What kind of tools he has. So when I'm talking about a job I had 3 years ago, not a current job I have. I very rarely talk about the current tools that I'm using, right? From a reconnaissance system. Not like PBO is very important, not like somebody's gonna try to get me, but just basic safeguards, right? I bet they won't do that again. We saw that, skyrocketing API. Oh yeah, facts on that. AP hacking on the right. Yeah, shout out to my man Alpha Cyber. He's got an API hacking tool free on LinkedIn. It was super good, so go check it out. He talked about how do you hack the API. I'm glad Charles brought that up. I'll share that in the description. Probably in the morning. I'm tired, but come back and look in the description. I put his free API hacking course in there. It's on LinkedIn. I thought it was pretty good. Um, Not interested in traffic. Oh, facts. Everybody's API calling. Probably Tim Viewer. Facts on that. Yeah, I don't think I've ever used Fleet Dash, but once again, which ones you're not, you want to block, put on your white list or put on your black list, right? So, and two is since you know the bad guys are using it, you want to make sure you're locking those down, making sure when you use them, it's hopefully calling your MFA before it lets you log in. So Burst Suite needs to be in. Oh, facts. Burst Suite's good. I haven't used it in a while, but you're right. I do more GRC than I do, but now Burst Suite is definitely a good tool. I've seen some of our guys use it. We all know BPO has been adding defect techniques. We talk about it. And they say quantum. Gotta get that quantum going. Quantum defect. I just did an API talk. Facts, man. That's cool, man. I'm gonna have to get you on the channel and interview you, man. But yeah, API, I would say the future, but API is now, right? So let's skim a little bit more on that. I always go check out CISA. So yeah, they talk about the execution, how they stay persistent, creating account, getting your MFA, valid accounts, privilege escalation, all that. So let's go a little bit to let me switch up. Let's go to I'm going to go to there it is. Let's go to MITRE real quick. So CISA really getting a lot of stuff from MITRE. So MITRE, when we talked about that multi-factor authentication, you clicked on it, took you here. So AP29 uses repeated MFA requests to gain access to the victim. Scatter Spider attempted to gain access. So it tells you once again, lapses, Scatter Spider, what procedures do they use to attack your company? You as a GRC person or any cybersecurity person should go through these and say, if this happens, what is our mitigating control? Right? What is our death for policy? Even if it's just training the users to not click on something, training the users to not file for MFA fatigue. All right. Have a training module at least for that at the highest level. Like we know it's hard, like you said, it's hard to patch users, but at least you train them to look out for stuff like that. Right? Mitigations, account use policies, enable account restrictors to prevent login attempts and subsequent MFA service requests from being initiated from a suspicious location when the source of the login attempts does not match the location of the MFA and smart devices. Use conditional access policies to block login from non-compliant devices. Right, this part of your zero trust. If your laptop, tablet, or phone doesn't have the proper malware, doesn't have the proper virus protection, the OS is not up to a proper level. You need to block that, right? So these are some of the mitigation things. How do you monitor application log for suspicious events, including repeated MFA failures? So if somebody's getting 10 MFA failures within a minute, I probably would lock their account. They have to call in the office and get a manual reset, right? Monitor MFA for suspicion event, rapid login attempts with valid credentials, right? That's usually a brute force with the rapid location. So once again, MITRE tells you what to look for. And two is the last thing we're going to look at. I'm running out of steam. I know Chris is confused. I might quit early, but so let's look at the big dog. Everybody buys. It costs a ton of money. Splunk. Splunk has a lot of that built into it, where they have your MITRE calls already in Splunk to alert you, right? MITRE entitles MITRE attacks coverage in your Splunk enterprise security. We know that's going to cost an arm and a leg, but like we were looking at, your initial access, your execution, your persistence, your privilege escalation, right? All of those MITRE attacks can be uploaded, or I guess paid for, with your enterprise Splunk. So when those certain attacks happen, once again, MFA fatigue, quick call to the help desk. So it seems the call to the help desk, then you see the MFA fatigue, right? That could be scatter spider, just lock that account. They got to come in tomorrow, or they got to call in, right? Determine the attack coverage. So they kind of walk through a little bit more. Search will return which results. Tells you the tools, MITRE annotation. So once again, MITRE gives you a lot of good stuff, and two, Splunk just added so they can charge you a ton of money. Using visualization to determine the TTP coverage, so that shows you the posture in your MITRE attack inside your Splunk enterprise. So once again, I give you a visual representation, because they're going to charge you $gazillion for Splunk. Tells you what to do, configure content and content management, what to alert on, what to search for in their times. Once again, rapid fire for the MFA fatigue, what to expect when using MITRE attack. So I'll probably do a few more videos, MITRE attack from a GRC perspective. So that's kind of it. I just kind of wanted to touch. I'm going to drop the link if anybody wants to come up. I just want to touch a little bit on when you see articles like that from a GRC perspective. We used to call it post-mortem. So we're going to go over, okay, what's Scatter Spider doing? What happened to the casinos? Could that happen to us? If that happens to us, like we said, will Splunk catch it? Are we logging the proper things? Do we got alerts? Do we got automation? Are we doing training? Then the best thing apart that is, if we get hacked and we get ransomware, what's our incident response? Do we open up the hotel doors? Can we reboot? Can we put the whole hotel doors on another locked vendor? Right? Can we just switch vendors? Can we hard boot and switch over to another vendor in emergency response? Right? So those are the steps you need to go through. If we can't pay people out and they standing in line, do we just say take your tickets? We're gonna give them a 5% upcharge because we love you. We want you to come back. Come back tomorrow. We give you 10%. Right? Those policies should be in place so the pit bosses know what to do, procedures know what to do, and you can run smoothly. You're not going to run smoothly, but you will be able to run. And people want to say, what do we do? They should be trained. Especially since this happened, all the casinos should be going, okay, if we get ransomware, what's the procedures should we do? All right. Can we let people up? Can we switch over to a whole nother lock vendor in the middle of the day? Can we hard reboot the lock vendor and just switch it over to another vendor, right? So once again, those are some of the things happen. And if it's a ransomware, we fell insecure, meaning the door's locked. I don't think that's a good deal, because if it's a fire, they got to be out. So we got to open the doors. So if we open the doors, we need to have security on each floors, because we got people's hotel room doors open, right? So what's the security procedure up? He said he had what, 100,000 rooms or something, 100,000, on 10 different properties. So what's your security that if you fail people doors open, what's the play, right? What are you, or do you have security? Are you just having your staff going on each floor, just hanging out on the floor, making sure people are comfortable? Right. So once again, you should have procedures in for incident response. And obviously, the casinos were lacking in there. Yep, facts, like a crime investigation. Got to walk through it. Facts. Yep. I wonder if they would have made any differences, like having a more secure config. Yeah, I think they always make a difference. Policies and procedures makes a difference from, at least you know what to do, right? It's something because I've been in a couple cybersecurity incidents. You at least know what to do, even if you don't know how to lock it down. Even though you secure, it could be we're shutting down all the AWS VMs, right? That aren't critical to what we do, right? We're gonna run this thing. We're shutting off everybody from the network, but these certain connections coming from these certain people. So the policies and procedures just give you standard operating procedures for when something happens. So especially if you look at NIST, they talk about that, right? From an incident response, COOP, where do you go? Like I said, are you calling people in on their off days? If you got to open everybody's door, you got to call where you paying everybody triple time, but they got to come in and we working 48 hours straight, right? He said they were down 5 days. So how do you do that, right? You should have all that lined up. You pay people triple time, they'll roll up. They'll roll up on site, right? But what is that if you never talked about that? All right. So those are the things. And two is it might be, hey, we need to get a better lock system. We need to get more help, or we need to get a whole new computer system, right? So those are the things that, from a process and procedure, that once again your incident response. Incident response has got training, activity, and exercise. So those are the things you have to go through. Shout out to GMR. Okay, oh my God, I was able to tune in the chairs coming in kind of late. We about to end. We about to end. So let's see. I'm just hanging out for any little more questions, see if anybody got. But the big deal for me out of there was the casinos didn't look like they have incident response. We always talked about ransomware as a service, so it seemed like Scatter Spider is getting it from Ransom Cat, which is the big dogs, right? So it seemed like they had all those lined up too. So those were interesting parts in there that really stood out into that. But if you're in the industry, this is status quo. Like she said, it's going to get worse before it gets better. Because the reason why is there's just so much money on the internet. And we know the internet wasn't really designed for security, right? So you try to bolt on all this security. I think it's a lot better, but it's a cat and mouse game. At first I was saying we were knocking out the script kiddies and the middle guys, but the big guys are giving them ransomware as a service, malware as a service. So the kiddies are getting better. So, I wish, but I'm so tired. Great point made. Another input. I appreciate everybody for joining me once again. Super short stream for me. I just want to do something a little different. I don't know how the heck PBL finds the time to put these together. I appreciate you, Jim Mark. Appreciate everybody. Come join us tomorrow in the GRC study hall. We're in the Simply Cyber Discord. Go check my man out, Chris Whitlock. I'll probably be in the GRC study hall tomorrow from 7:30 for at least an hour. I try to support my guys down there. They're doing good things, so I'm in there chopping it up. So come to the GRC study hall. Go check out I appreciate you, Chaos Rain. Yep, go check out my man's channel. Oh, where we at tomorrow? Are you streaming tomorrow, 8 p.m. C2? I don't know yet. Hit the like button. I appreciate everybody for joining me. Like I said, I done had a long day at work. I probably got to work a little more trying to finish up a logging document. It ain't going well. But now, shout out to that. Calvin, you missed the show. Check me out on the replay. You would have enjoyed it. Just talk a little about ransomware as a service. Talked a little bit about the script kiddies using ransomware as a service. Talked about the casinos getting locked down. They didn't have any incident response. People couldn't get paid out on their their winnings, Calvin. Shout out to one of my day ones, always giving me great feedback. But once again, I appreciate everybody for joining me. I'm about to go see if the Lakers winning. I follow a little basketball. They were up by 10. So once again, if y'all need me, reach out to ProfessorBlackOps@gmail.com. Give me a couple days. I usually get back to you. I've been a little sluggish on the email. Ooh, just been tired a little bit. Is it? Where are you at? Once again, I appreciate everybody for joining. Night Owl, I appreciate everybody. Like I said, I'm out. I'm going to go lay down, take a little break, and probably get back up and get at it. Check me out. Check my videos out. Check out my playlist if you're trying to get in GRC. Once again, you can always reach out to me, ProfessorBlackOps@gmail.com. Oh shit, he was in Japan. Shout out to you, man. That's on my bucket list. That's on my bucket list. Oh, wow. Nice. I'm out, everybody. Check out my man in Japan. That's on my bucket list. I need to get there. I say that I very rarely leave Indiana, but I've seen some cool things about Japan, and some other YouTubers said they loved it. So I definitely want to check it out. Once again, everybody have a great hump day. I'll check you out. Professor Black Ops.